Hey guys, Chris here from Carolot Farm. As I go about my morning routine today, there are a couple of things I want to bring your attention to. One, I don't know if you can tell, it's very smoky here at the farm, and that is because even here in Central Virginia, we are beginning to see, smell, and just feel the general effects of the Canadian wildfires, which for most people and most animals, it's not such a big deal, but I do have one horse in particular who has asthma, so I have to be really, really careful and super mindful about her in this kind of weather. And we are preparing for a new friend to come and join us perhaps as early as this weekend. So that's exciting, and I want to mention a few things that I'll be starting to do to prepare for that. As I go about my morning routine, it's pretty normal thus far. Everyone's getting their regular breakfast, their fly spray, their masks if they wear them. But I do plan to bring all of the horses into their shelters with their fans on by about 1 o'clock today. I'm supposed to take a student to a horse show if it's not canceled. I mean, between you and me, I wouldn't be super surprised if they did, postpone or cancel the show because of the air condition and just the quality being so poor. But we'll see. If we do go to the show, we'll have to be really careful, keep a really close eye on the horses, and just see how everyone does. But right now, I'm going to head down to the Brown Barn and check on Sweetheart because she is my horse with asthma that I'm most especially concerned about in this type of weather. Having a horse with chronic asthma means I need to come down every morning and give her a really good look. I see today she has nasal discharge. However, I see she seems bright and alert, so that's good. I first noticed that discharge in her nose maybe 2 days ago, and that was the first night I actually saw the orange haze around the moon, not the moon, the sun at sunset, and I thought, gosh, it looks like there could be a fire in the area. Lo and behold, I didn't realize that there were, in fact, significant fires up in Canada. So I think we're seeing some of that manifest in her issues here. But let's feed her now, and then I'll tell you about some extra medication that I'm giving her to help combat some of this. As she walks past, I'm listening. I don't hear her wheezing very much at all. So let me say a little more now about what I'm feeding her. She is still getting her cetirizine tabs. Those are just regular allergy tablets. She's getting those twice a day. She's still getting her 1AC, AC1. I never say it right. Whatever that stuff is to help promote sweating. And when I see that she's having a little more difficulty, she goes from 2 puffs on her inhaler twice a day to 3 puffs. And because of the nasal discharge and because of this high heat and humidity, and now the smoke on top of that, I am also giving her 1 milliliter of Dex. That was recommended by the vet. A few weeks ago, we had a really high heat wave that came through, and it's just one more area that we can help to support her because that small dose of Dex is going to help kind of amplify the inhaler and make it work better. So those are all the things we're doing for this poor little mare with asthma here. I am not a big fan of Dex. I've said that before. I have concerns about it from a metabolic standpoint and the impact it might have on my minis. But when it comes to treating my mare and her asthma, we are finding that a very small dosage such as this, just once a day for maybe 1 to 3 days in a row, seems to really give her significant relief, especially in this really unusual or difficult weather. So it's not something I'm using long term, and because it's such a small dosage, I don't have to wean her off of it like I would if it was a larger full dose. So those are good things. And again, talk to your vet before you ever do something such as this, but this was recommended by our vet just to help support my mare and her breathing issues. So now that she's finished her breakfast, I have the inhaler right here. This has been a really, really handy thing. I've shown you in some other videos, but this is the Aero Hippus, the mask, and it comes with this little flexible nose piece. And so if you have a horse like I do with asthma, very handy. I find this to be my go-to. Again, I use it twice a day every day because her symptoms just haven't really subsided and gone away. And because it's such a chronic issue, if I have to replace this, it's not too terribly expensive, but I am hoping it'll last a good long time. But I wanted to mention it. It is the Aero Hippus, and I've been pretty pleased with it. I'm not gonna put a mask on her because I don't want her to get overheated. I do fear that sometimes horses can get a little hot when they have those masks on. They're not always the most breathable. So I'm gonna forego putting her mask on, and then later this afternoon, just like I will with Lady and Timber, I will bring Sweetheart here back into her shady shelter, and I will turn her fans on. She currently has 2 box fans tied to the front of her lot here, and that seems to give plenty of air movement, and she's been pretty comfortable the last few days. Now, I also said I wanted to tell you about our new friend who might be coming to visit us as early as this weekend. He is cute as a button. He is a little two-tone, dark gray and white, almost, I think he's a silver dapple and white, probably is what he technically is. Little mini. His name is Kevin. He belongs to a really good friend of mine. And Kevin will be coming to stay with us for a period of time. We don't know how long. And we're not exactly sure when he will arrive, but we think it could be Saturday or Sunday this coming weekend. Today is Friday. So again, I have a lot of things to do, to get ready for, and just to kind of make sure all of my ducks are in a row, guys. So as I'm in my tack room getting Sweetheart her little cookies, I do want to mention one more thing about Kevin. He is a rescue pony. He came from the same rescue as all of my other minis. Really, every horse on the farm here will have come from a rescue. Timber, my niece's horse, came from a different rescue, but all of the minis will have come from the same rescue, Colby's Crew Rescue. And that's just really fun that we have this whole community of these little minis, and we're just so happy to be able to offer them a wonderful, healthy, happy place to land. When trying to determine the best placement for a new horse, there's so many things to consider. One, their age, their activity level, their sex, right? Sometimes geldings and mares don't always do as well in a mixed herd. Sometimes they do really well when you have just your boys with your boys and your girls with your girls, which is currently how I have things set up here at the farm. But it's not always been that way. I've certainly had mixed herds. Another thing to consider is their dietary needs. What are they eating? How much grass do they need, or have they been on? Have they been on a dry lot, and are they not acclimated to grass yet? Do they get hay? And so all of those things I need to consider, and let me put this down for the boys, and I'll say a little more about that and a little more about what I know about Kevin. Kevin is likely to be a short-term resident. He is destined to go back to my friend's farm just as soon as everything gets settled there. She's moving some of her big horses around and restructuring things. So I don't think that Kevin will be a forever permanent resident here at Carolat Farm, but we will be so happy to have him. So these little boys are both very docile, but they love to roughhouse. And I think another young gelding could fit in really well. But sometimes a twosome can be a little more peaceful than 3, and I want to weigh that as well as other things. You can see here, they're in one shared stall, my 2 little geldings, and one horse is eating in this corner and one horse is eating in the other corner, and so that works well. Yes, a stall has 4 corners, but I find that feeding in the front 2 corners of the stall seems to work really, really well. So with a 3rd horse, I would want to have another stall open and available. I think 1 stall for 3 minis might be a bit tight, especially because one of them is new to the herd. And although I used to have both of my stall doors open at all times for whatever horse or horses were in this area, I have as of late been closing this stall because it's been acting as my overflow hay storage area. So if I open this up to make room for Kevin so that the 3 boys have more room, I need to put my hay somewhere else, which leads me down a whole nother rabbit hole. What to do with my hay, where to restructure and reorganize. So that I need to consider. And there's another important piece I want to mention now, and that's grass. Or just in general what the horse has or has not been eating. Kevin has been in a dry lot, so he's been primarily living off of hay. He's not been getting grain to the best of my knowledge. And again, he's had very limited access to grass. And so I wouldn't want to throw him into a lush field such as this. This little field here has been resting, so it's pretty darn green. I'm just waiting for the right time when I need to start introducing my horses slowly but surely back onto this field. But you wouldn't want to take a horse that's been off grass and turn them out on grass like this, because that could cause them to founder. It could cause other just metabolic issues and upsets. So you have to be really mindful of those things. And so because I know Kevin has been in a dry lot with just a little bit of grazing opportunity here and there, I want to slowly introduce him onto the grass here at our farm. Now, fortunately, a field like this where Sweetheart is not super lush. There is grass, it's green, but there are a lot of weeds out here. And so this could also be a good place for him to land, and it could be a nice middle introductory area. So again, so many options, but as I'm standing here, there's one more thing I want to mention that could be a possibility. This most recent aha thought I had was to flip Sweetheart and the boys. Sweetheart has been in this back field. She has a nice oversized run-in. It's open. There are no like partial walls like you have with the stalls up front. And so this could be a little more conducive to 3 small minis versus the stalls that I'm a little concerned somebody could find themselves cornered and or kicked if they still aren't getting along after that initial introduction. So you just want to be really mindful of those things. So I might try that. I'll keep thinking on all of these different possibilities, but there's one thing in this backfield that has me a little hesitant. That is this jungle that sits behind me here. I had really intended to spray 2,4-D on this particular targeted area over a month ago. It was so long ago. We bought our step-in T-posts. We kind of fenced it off so Sweetheart wouldn't be grazing in there. There's some weeds in there that I'm not so certain are ideal for her especially. And so I did want to spray this area. I just haven't gotten around to it. And so that is my one reservation with putting the boys back here, is these young boys would very likely, you know, be interested on what's on the other side of the fence, try to climb through it. I wouldn't want anyone to get tangled up. It's not electrified, which is kind of a blessing and a curse. If it were, they wouldn't bother it, but because it's not, they might kind of test it and, you know, who knows. I have some pretty silly little boys. So I have to think long and hard about this. I have to think about which run-in shelter is the best, and really ultimately what sort of grass and grazing situation I need for all of my horses, because right now where everyone is has been working really, really well. And I hate to upset things, but sometimes you have to be flexible, and I will let you know what I decide to do in the coming days. This is my house cat, Lovey. Once upon a time, she was a barn cat long, long, long ago. I don't even know how old she is. I want to say she's maybe close to 14 years old. She's got some real age on her. But she comes out every day for just a few minutes, and if I'm not ready to let her in as soon as she requests so, she'll wander down to the barn. I have to come and get her sometimes. So again, she'll probably follow me up to the house. But I want to say thanks for joining. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's hot, it's humid, it's smoky here in Virginia, but we've got a lot going on. The horses are doing well. Sweetheart's asthma seems to be holding pretty steady. I do need to bring her and the other horses into their shady shelters with their fans in just a few short hours. And then we'll keep you posted on Kevin, because that'll be really exciting when he comes. I'm still leaning towards putting him with the boys. I think those 3 young boys are going to have such a good time palling around. But time will tell. Check back, and we hope to see you in the future. Bye, guys.